Hi, it's Rebecca from RebeccaAdamsBiz.com, and in this video we're going to talk about when your mind goes blank. Now, I want to ask you a question. Has your mind ever gone blank when you need to write that blog post, or you need to start writing that book, or you need to design that jewellery or bake that cake and you have no idea how to start? You can't turn on the creative muse. How did you feel when that happened? You know, sometimes it can be quite frustrating and upset, especially if you are against a deadline and, you know, your blog post is due up in an hour and you still don't know what you're going to write. I mean, that is so frustrating. So in this video, I've got 8 tips to help you. I'm going to share with you 8 tips that I use when my mind goes blank, because sometimes I know that some of us can kind of stand there like a little toddler in a tantrum thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? And then your mind starts playing on you, and then you kind of start getting yourself stressed and anxiety creeps in and overwhelm and everything else, and then it just makes it worse. So my 8 tips that I'm going to share with you are: number 1, stop giving yourself a hard time. Being creative can be quite tiring and exhausting, especially if you've got to come up with fresh ideas all the time. So number 1, stop beating yourself up and giving yourself a hard time. You're doing a great job, and you know, once you come up with that little idea, or once you start, you get through the mind block. Once you start, you're on a momentum and you're creating and everything else. So don't give yourself a hard time. Number 2, to be creative and to fine tune your mastery requires the right hemisphere. As you're watching this video, I don't know, this is my right, so it depends if you're watching it the same as I'm recording it, but the right hemisphere of the brain is where all your creativeness comes from. And so the best thing is to relax your brain. So have a hot steamy shower, hot bubble bath, go for a walk, do something just to relax your brain, and then you're going to find that the right hemisphere of the brain is actually relaxed, and then that's when you can tap into your creative muse. Number 3, I've just mentioned about going for a walk, but number 3 is go somewhere. Get out of the house, go off and do something, just to get yourself, you know, motivated, go and explore somewhere, and that again will tap into the right side of the brain. If you can't create in silence, go into a coffee shop. You know, you've got the or the clinking of the cups and plates, the radio might be going off, something, or sit in the park and you can hear the children, you know, having a nice time, laughing, joking and everything else, and birds singing and things. So, you know, if you can't create in silence, go somewhere that is quite noisy. Number 4 is put some music on and dance. You know, be silly, act as though no one's watching you. Just chill. Just dance like no one's watching. That's the best way anyway. And music relaxes people, so that's great. Number 5 is empty your brain and create some white space. So everything that's going on, a lot of people can't create because there's so much going on. I know I'm a person that my brain downloads and uploads every single day, and I cannot sit there and wipe the slate clean unless I get a piece of paper and I write down everything on it. Basically do a little brain dump, write everything on that piece of paper that actually is in my brain. Doesn't matter whether it's business, life, personal, whatever. Get it all on paper. It's not going anywhere. You're not going to forget it. It's all on paper. Then your mind's completely blank in a way. And then what you can do is relax it even more, as I've just said in the few previous other tips, to relax the right side of the brain so that you can tap into your creative muse. And that is a good way of accessing your creativeness and getting rid of the mind block too. Number 6, time manage your day. You know, sit there, don't keep multitasking, time manage everything. Keep having a break at the top of the hour, keep having a break for about 10 minutes, just to refresh and recharge. Do number 4 and get and dance a little bit with the music. But with number 6, you know, schedule in your creative time. So you know you've got to switch on and actually do your blog post within those 2 hours. And if you do all the other tips, it's going to help you to be able to create in those couple of hours. But see what works for you. I mean, not all these tips are going to work for everyone. So just strip out the ones that would work or could work for you. Number 7, read books and magazines that inspire you. Some people have a look at the travel magazines and the travel brochures. Some people like to zone out and read a little chick lit book or a science fiction book or something else. Just read something else that isn't to do with whatever you're working on, and that actually might give you a couple of ideas too. And number 8, go on days out on location like I do with friends and family, so that the inspiration flows to you. The conversation's going to flow anyway, and that might actually flick a switch and think, I could write a note about that. Tap it into, I use Evernote on my phone. I've got a little app which is Evernote, and if I'm out and about and I haven't got my notepad and pen, everyone who knows me knows I carry a notepad and pen, write it down in the Evernote so you don't forget it. The worst thing you can do, and it happens to the best of us and it happens to all of us, is that, you remember something and you go, I'll do that when I get home. And then when you get home, you're like, what was that? And for the life of you, you can't even think what it was about. So, go out on days out. They may be talking about something that you could actually use in your blog post, or you could put it in your book, or anything like that. So see what works out of the 8 tips that I've shared with you, what actually works for you. Now, being creative is actually fabulous. To have the luxury of being able to create your own lifestyle, your own job, your own work each and every day, I feel privileged to be able to do it. When your creativity is flowing and there's no blocks, it's absolutely phenomenal. But sometimes life gets in the way, children, things happen, and life does get in the way, and sometimes there are blocks that we have to overcome. But going back to number 1, stop giving yourself a hard time. Do not worry about it. Things are here to test us. Things are here to, everything's not going to be, the train journey's not going to be all smooth. It's going to have little bumps there and everything else. So it's just a way of you being able to keep going. So just keep going with whatever you do, and know deep down that, yes, okay, you've got a mind block, you've got a creative block, you can't shift it. You will eventually overcome it all. So with the 8 tips, see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I hope this helped. And the one thing I want to ask you is, what techniques do you use to beat the negative, the mind block? What do you use? Do you use anything different than what I've shared today? I'd love to hear from you. So comment below, or pop over to my website, or find me on Facebook or whatever, and let me know. I would love to hear if I could actually add some tips into this video to help other people as well. So a quick recap, 8 tips to share with you. Number 1, stop giving yourself a hard time. Number 2, tune into your mastery, your creative right brain. So relax it, have a bath, have a shower, switch off everything else. Number 3, get out of the house and go somewhere to click on that creativeness. Number 4, put some music on and dance like no one's watching. Music relaxes everyone anyway, and it's really great. Number 5, empty your brain. Get a piece of paper, write everything down, do a little brain dump of everything that's in your head. Get rid of everything in your head so that you can start creating once you've relaxed the right side of your brain. Number 6, time manage your day. Block in the creativeness if you need to, your creative hour or 2 hours. Number 7, read magazines or books that inspire you. They may actually switch on some creative muse too. And number 8, go on days out with family and friends, because that might actually inspire you and motivate you and give you some ideas of getting creative. So enjoy these 8 tips, see what works and what doesn't, and then let me know what other tips you use to, help your brain to get over the mind block, so that you can write that blog post, you can create that jewellery, you can write that book. I would love to hear from you.